Welcome back to another top talks. We're gonna be talking about another controversial issue, so stand by.
Top Talks.
Welcome back to another top talks.
Hello, hello.
Hello. So how are you doing?
I'm doing great. New year, new president.
Yeah, new
Yeah.
you, new me.
I know. And no, what I wanted to bring up is last week President Trump announced that they were going to freeze a lot of government grants.
Uh oh.
And what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Well, there's a lot of foundations out there. There's a lot of nonprofits, especially
Yeah.
that take in federal grants to support either feeding, housing, or different kinds of work, social work that nonprofits are really, really good at doing.
Okay.
There's a lot of private sectors out there that may be doing that kind of services, but nonprofits leads with social justice fights.
Okay.
Uh,
So you're saying that some of the grants that's for social justice,
social work.
social work,
Social work. So when you talk about social justice, broad stroke, right? I mean, feeding, food,
Okay.
right? We are sending a lot of aid to different countries, especially with feeding programs, whereas you have big populations here
Right.
that are starving.
Right. Right.
You know,
Right. Right.
well, of course, you gotta stand up for the people that
Is that the USAID
could
thing?
be.
Yeah.
It could be. It could be.
That's a big deal right there.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
But when the first announcement of federal grant freeze, there was a lot of nonprofits they were in limbo.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not good.
It's not. I mean, for the folks out there that don't know a little bit of nonprofit or how they are funded, they're funded with different sources, whether that's going to be federal, state, or local government through funds and grants. They got private sector grants or public sector funding as well through donations and stuff like that. And then majority of the services are done free of charge to end clients.
Okay.
You know, those are the things that nonprofits they do very, very well, and you know the end state clients are the ones that benefit from all these kind of work. You know, seldom would you see for profit. I mean, name a for profit that would be giving something to less fortunate.
Yeah. No, there's no such thing.
There might, but
There might.
a
Little
small
bit.
percent.
Kind of like Goodwill.
That's another sore subject right there. But for example, I'll use my experience with the feeding. So for feeding, a county.
So explain to them where you work at first. I don't
Yeah,
think they know your background.
Sure. I work with a nonprofit sector called the Emergency Food Network.
Okay.
What we do is we do feed people over 75 food pantries across one county.
I see.
Only
Okay.
one county.
Just one county.
One county. There are other nonprofits out there that are statewide. There are other nonprofits out there that are nationwide.
Right.
Some of the statewide programs, for example, you know, we all know what happened with the fires in California.
Right.
Nonprofits are in the front. They're actually feeding people.
That's good.
And I'm just talking about that one aspect. There's so many other aspects that nonprofits or whatever sector they go into and help the community. And some of them are funded federally.
Okay.
You know, I wouldn't say I can't speak for all nonprofits or for what kind of percent of funding they receive from federal because every nonprofit's different.
Right. Right.
Some nonprofits may be 100% government funded. With the announcement of freezing grants,
I mean, is it all the grants that they froze?
well, I don't. So when I saw majority of agencies that was getting frozen,
Yeah.
when they say freeze, they were actually asking for percentages of what type of work, who they're supporting, who's the point of contact, and all that stuff.
Right.
So did it really happen? No, it didn't happen. But the intention was there.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of disruption through the nonprofit sector, not just nonprofit sector, but government agencies as well that were being questioned
Right.
and didn't know what's going to happen.
Okay. So do you think? Because I think I know the purpose of the freeze. I think the purpose of the freeze for the grants is to account for where we're spending the money.
That's correct.
Right. So, do you think that there's going to be like organizations out there that will not receive the grants based on the new policies?
I cannot say, but my first inclination is to say yes.
Yeah.
There may be some sectors out there that will be affected.
But the question would be then the question would be, is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? You know what I mean? It's like, is it moral or ethically feasible to fund some of the organizations that does not comply with, I guess, the new policies? Like I mean, I think I see what the government, the new administration is trying to do is to kind of track, okay, here's our policies, here's the monies, but we want to make sure that the people receiving the money or the organizations receiving the money are in compliance with what the people want based on the government.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's a good question too. But it's hard to just give a blanket statement of a yes or no.
Yeah.
There's always a maybe. When it all depends on your mission.
Right.
The government has their mission. You as an individual has a mission. Different nonprofit sectors have their own mission. So let's use, and I've heard this too before. Let's use the feeding part. Feeding, right? The avenue for feeding is all services are given to the end client through food pantries with no charge to the individual.
Right.
Right? That's everything given, either government funded, funding by public, meaning private donations or whatnot to buy food. Everything is given to the end client. There are some stipulations that, you cannot collect name, address, whatever the case may be. Those are the stipulations, some of the government, and I could use maybe around here.
Yeah.
Thurston County or Pierce County, some of the stipulations is you're not required to gather these informations. But if the government says like, hey, we want to know where these funds are coming from,
Right.
therefore you have to
Provide.
do A, B, and C.
Yeah.
So when you do basically those kind of collections so that you can comply with government funding, well, now you may be excluding other people, right? The main purpose, the goal is to feed,
Right.
regardless of your status, race, creed, color, whatever the case may
Yep.
be.
Yep.
My goal is to make sure that you are fed, rather than you eating through garbages or whatever.
Right.
Right? It's just the humane thing to do.
Yeah.
But because of some policies, and I'm not saying that that's exactly what the government is asking. It's just an example. If that's what they're looking for, then we can lose the ability to service the mission, our mission.
Okay.
So There were so many other stipulations of what accounting for fundings, right?
Right.
We didn't know what's going on. We didn't know exactly why or what you're looking for.
Yeah.
It's just, hey, I'm gonna freeze government grants, and I will need to know where the money's going to.
Right. Right.
And majority, I would say, some nonprofits out there operate by reimbursements, right? Let me spend the money first. I'll give you whatever documentation you need so that you can pay me back,
Okay.
right? Reimbursements. By the freeze, I have spent it, and I don't know if the money's
Gonna
coming
get back. Yeah.
Right.
It's too late now.
It's too late now, right?
Right.
And then by doing that, either you have placed that specific company into a hole that they cannot dig out.
I see. I see the issue there. But do you know of other agencies or other nonprofit that you think should be eliminated from grants?
I can't say that. I cannot wholeheartedly say like yes.
Right.
I know of some of the nonprofits, what their missions are, and I cannot speak to all.
Yeah.
There's so many nonprofits out there for veterans, for example.
Right.
Right. There's so many nonprofits out there that do feeding, housing,
Yeah.
mental.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, okay.
Right. So it's hard to say that who gets what and who does not get any. The nonprofit sector exists because there's a need, and no for-profit sector would like to pick up the slack.
Because it's not profitable. Yeah, I mean, it's not profitable. Your people you're serving can't pay you back. So
Yeah, I mean, we're one of the richest countries out there, but we have problems, within the community.
with any country, really. I mean, I don't think there's any country out there that has no problem with their community.
Oh, absolutely. But if you look at housing, homelessness,
Yeah,
you go to Japan, there's no homeless there.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Why can they figure that out? Why can't we figure
Well,
that
it's the
out?
culture too.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like some, they have this culture where, you got one, they respect the elderly. They have those certain
Yeah.
certain things in their beliefs and their traditional roles. They have their traditional roles that take care of everybody, and then and it forces the individual self to be part of a team, to be successful and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they are homeless, but they are being assisted by the government of Japan because they have that responsibility.
Yeah. So there's assistance for it. Do we have assistance here? Yes, we do. Is it enough?
No.
I don't think so.
I mean, Japan can do it also because of their population is not that as huge as ours.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we're a freaking a continent, basically half a continent, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, I know. I mean, there's so many arguments about it, on the reasons why we have this, why don't other countries have them, the people, the culture. I get it. But we claim ourselves as a superpower.
Yeah, and we still have problems like
And we still have
homelessness,
Yeah.
poverty, hunger.
hunger,
Which is crazy, right?
Hunger. So recently, I just went to the Philippines, and I mean, we've seen the videos before for
Yeah.
this food
Yeah.
called pagpag.
Oh yeah, pagpag, yeah.
Pagpag. And for the viewers out there, pagpag are leftovers, garbage, food that somebody collects. Do they wash it or they just cook it?
So it's not really washed. It's just they pick it up from their containers.
Yeah.
And they recook it.
They recook it, right?
Yeah.
And people with less money would actually buy so they can eat it
Yeah. Because it's affordable. It's like less than a quarter to for a plate.
for a plate, right? But think about it. That's garbage.
Yeah.
You know, leftover garbage, spat on, stepped on, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
They have that issue. But people are
They
eating
found
it.
a way.
They found a way. But they're eating garbage.
Yeah.
You know,
I heard it's good. That's what I heard it's tasty.
I wouldn't try it. I
wouldn't try it either.
I wouldn't try it. But for us here, although we do have issues with food and feeding, we have outlets, we have food pantries,
Right.
You know, we have churches, so whatever the case may be, that will assist people so they can get food.
Hell, we even have problems with water over in LA.
In LA now, right?
Yeah.
So those are the things that, yes, do we have a problem? Yes. Are we solving something or trying to? We're there. It's not 100% solution, but there's some sort of a solution,
Yeah.
right? And those things, you know, we could say like, yeah, we're trying to do something and we are trying our best, but then we also need funding,
Right.
right? And don't get me wrong, man. I know it's less than 100 days. I know that the tactic is to shake that tree,
Shake
man.
the thing.
Shake it
Yeah.
until something falls, and we'll go forward. But the intent does affect a lot of nonprofits that do service that nobody else would.
Right. Okay, it makes sense. I mean, I understand that the need to fund those nonprofits, but I think I also understand what they're trying to do. But I don't know where
That fine line.
the fine line where, hey, how can we make sure that the money is being spent, accordingly, but at the same time take care and not disturb the operations of the nonprofit. I don't think anybody thought about that.
No, I don't think so. I think it's an initial. I think the intent was to shake it up, and knowingly it's gonna freeze it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it shook everybody up. You know,
Yeah,
it don't get me wrong. Everybody's pucker factor was right there. Everybody was tightening up, and I think there's going to be a second round of it. There's going to be a second to where it's more intentful and spelt out.
More deliberate, yeah.
Correct. What needs to happen? You know,
Okay.
I don't know how he thinks. I don't know how President Trump thinks. I know he's a shaker. He's a
Yeah.
businessman.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
needs to know where the money's going. I
Right.
get it. But I know that it seems like the initial effect was to shake you up and then not move forward. So you know I'm shaking. You know it may come back,
Okay.
right? Be prepared.
Yeah. So I think, so here's a question for you. In the long run, you think if we do get the intent accomplished, right, and start doing the fundings again, in the long run, do you think it was worth the shakeup?
You know, just like any other business, if you are smooth sailing all these years, you become complacent. When you become complacent, things can happen.
Right.
Whether misappropriation of funds,
Yeah.
you know, and maybe that's what he was getting into.
Could be, because there's a lot of problems of, so my thing is like, why did it even happen? What was the information that they had that made them do this move?
I have no clue. I don't know why, but I could tell you this. During the pandemic, there was a floodgates of support from the government to whatever sector,
Right.
right? And there's a couple of nonprofits I think there's one big one in Montana
Yeah.
where the nonprofit sector, that was, I forgot what role they were doing, but they were caught. They were caught mishandling funds.
It only takes one.
It only takes one. And that's just that's not just it. There's other nonprofits that was actually misusing funds. Whether again, I'm not sure what kind of sector it is, but it was out there. So, you know, it's a black eye for nonprofits since majority of nonprofits are doing great
Right.
work, and then you will have scandals that go along
Yeah.
with it, and it takes away the goodness of what the nonprofits are doing.
So it sounds to me it's kind of like basic training, mass punishment.
My,
You know what I mean? Like it takes
mass
one
punish-
soldier
Yeah, it
to
only
bring that
takes one.
donut in the bay,
Yeah,
and
then-
everybody suffers for it.
everybody's on lockdown.
Yeah,
yeah.
It kind of reminds me as well. Like I mean, you heard lately the USAID is being targeted to be shut down.
Yes.
Right, and I understand why, because they're sending money to all these other countries for crazy stuff. You know, it's like I don't want my money, my hard-earned money, to be paid for that.
Yeah, I know. I was shocked to see what was listed.
Yeah, I didn't even know that they were doing that.
No, I didn't. I didn't check the sources.
Yeah.
But just to read about it, it was like an eye opener.
Yeah.
And just to understand, like, shoot, you're talking about millions,
Yeah,
millions of dollars.
it's not hundreds or thousands; it's millions.
Millions for
Hell, million to create the Sesame Street.
in Iraq.
Yeah, what? What?
Yeah.
Just get the freaking old VHS and just send it over there.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that translation's gonna be like America's good. Yeah, like a little bit of propaganda right there. But no, I was shocked to see where the money was going. Whether true or not true, I haven't done my own research
Yeah.
to figure out really if it's true. But it's surprising to just read about it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But I know for the next, I mean, it's a good discussion about this. I was not aware of how much of an impact it is, the freezing of the funds, until we talked about it. But hopefully the administration knows what they're doing.
I do believe so.
Yeah.
I know this is just an initial shakeup. I think so. It's an
Yeah.
initial shakeup to keep you on your P's and Q's, you know.
Which is I think is good, because
is.
it forces people to, like, okay, I need to be ethically, responsible
for it. Yeah.
fiscal responsibility. Right?
It just, that impact though, it just, we don't know the extent of the impact for some.
Right.
I wish that we'd be more deliberate than blanketed.
Yeah. Or at least it's in stages. Come in stages.
Come in stage. Yeah.
Phase 1. This is what we're gonna do.
This is like phase 0 right away. Jeez.
Cease and desist. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. But next podcast I want to talk about the tax.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. It's
Yeah.
coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Well, tariffs and the tax cuts that I don't know if you heard about the tax cuts, but I want to talk about that.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
That's all we got.
that's all we got. Hey, I mean, it's a great discussion. I think it's controversial that they're stopping the funding, but hopefully in the future that gets reinstated and
No, it's lifted. It's lifted.
It's lifted now?
Yeah, the freeze is over.
okay.
It lasted maybe 4 days.
Okay.
From the initial, like, hey,
Oh, okay.
federal grants frozen.
I thought it would be like longer. Like, oh.
Yeah, no, after a couple of days, they lifted it back up.
All right, good.
Yeah, so that's like a major shocker for
Yeah.
everybody. You're like, ooh, shit.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, nothing crazy happens next.
Yeah, but I do expect it to come back with more deliberate
Yeah.
understanding of what they want to do.
Yeah.
So,
To be more clear to the American people
Yes.
where the
Yeah.
money's going. All right. Well, that's all we have for now. Until next time, everybody, subscribe, hit the notification button, and see you till the next podcast.
later. Hit that like button.
Like it. I like it. Comment again also. Good.